Hey there, beautiful people. It's Dina, bringing another daily dose. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about love. Today is the love day. It is set aside and represented as the day that we are supposed to show our love to people. So let's talk about that. Let's break that down a little bit. Because if we first don't understand what love actually is, and how can we actually show it to somebody else? Because the world wants you to think that love is a feeling, an emotion. It is doing something nice for somebody, giving them chocolates or candy or whatever, jewelry on Valentine's Day. But what if you don't have somebody that is there to give you all those things on Valentine's Day? What if you don't have a special someone in your life? What if you have a special someone in your life and they just didn't do anything for you? Does that mean they don't love you? Is it based on what they do for you? Is it based on what the world's view of love is? When I was single, I remember feeling like, oh, Valentine's Day is here and I don't have anybody to share it with. So you almost get a little bit depressed. But even in marriage, you could still get that way because we don't always show the love that we expect. We don't always do the things for our spouse. Honestly, we should be doing it every single day. We don't always put our full effort into celebrating that person on these special days. Now, my husband and I are not really Hallmark holiday type people. It's always a bonus if we do something, but I learned a long time ago to let go of that expectation because it just causes unnecessary pain. It causes negative emotions that we were never meant to carry because that's not what love is. But the world has trained us since we were very little that love looks like Valentine's Day. It even looks like a wedding. There's so many people that have these big extravagant weddings and they still end up in divorce. I'm one of those people. I've been married twice. My husband and I both have been married before. We've been married for 25 years now, but we each were married before. And my first wedding was very big, very extravagant. We could have bought a house for the amount of money that we spent on a wedding, big Italian wedding. It was kind of this thing that was expected. And we invited every single person that we knew. And I still ended up in a broken marriage. So that's not what love is either. I think we spend our whole life trying to figure out what that is, and we're looking for it in another person. That's the thing where there's the wrong misconception that we're never going to find that in another person. You're actually only going to find that within yourself, and the only way you can find that in yourself is with a personal relationship with Jesus. He's the perfect example of what love is. He died for us. His love for us was so great that he was willing to pay the price for everything that we have ever done, will ever do, for all of humanity. That's pure love. But out of that understanding and out of your identity in him is where true love comes. When you first understand how much he loves you and that he calls you his beloved, then you could start to understand how valuable you are to him. And when you start to value your own self, then you can truly love someone else. I don't think we can truly love another person through all the good, the bad, the ugly, all the in-between until you truly understand how to love yourself. Because if you don't understand that as your base, then every single time somebody does something or doesn't do something or doesn't give you a gift or doesn't say a nice thing, you are now going to assume that person doesn't love you. Or you're going to feel a certain way. There's going to be a negative emotion attached to that. But if you truly know who you are and there's nothing that shakes you of that, you truly understand what love really is, then it doesn't matter what somebody does or doesn't do. Like I said, it becomes a blessing, an extra bonus if somebody does, but it doesn't rock your world in a negative way if somebody doesn't do what you expect them to do. And this was something that God had to radically change in my heart because my family, everything was celebrated very big. We have a big Italian family and everything from birthdays to Valentine's Day to Easter, whatever, it didn't matter. We always celebrated it big and we always got gifts. But my husband came from a family where that wasn't necessarily the same situation. So you bring two people together and you have these expectations. And when some person doesn't meet that expectation, you start to think they don't care about you. Or the other person might feel like they have to meet these expectations and then they start feeling bad about themselves. So I had to learn over 25 years of being married, that is not what really shows love. So I'm going to actually give you the biblical definition of love and really listen to what I'm going to say. I've got it in the Passion Translation and also the Amplified Translation. I'm going to read it in the Amplified first because I love the way it breaks it down. And when we go through this, I want to read the full chapter because this is the one scripture I would say that people use for weddings and all of that. It's 1 Corinthians 13 when it talks about what love is. But you have to have the full context to what that is. So I'm going to read that to you. So just bear with me, and hopefully you'll stick around till the end. So it says, I speak with the tongues of men and angels, but have not love for others, growing out of God's love for me. That's what I was just saying. And then have become only a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal, just an annoying distraction. And if I have the gift of prophecy and speak a new message from God to the people, and understand all mysteries and possess all knowledge, and if I have all sufficient faith so that I can remove mountains, but do not have love, reaching out to others, I am nothing. If I give all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned, but do not have love, it does me no good at all. Love endures with patience and serenity. Love is kind and thoughtful. It is not jealous or envious. It does not brag. It is not proud or arrogant. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not provoked, nor overly sensitive and easily angered. It does not take into account a wrong endured. It does not rejoice at injustice, but rejoices with the truth. When right and truth prevail, love bears all things, regardless of what comes, believes all things, looking for the best in each one, hopes all things, remaining steadfast during difficult times. Okay, married people, here you go. Endures all things without weakening. Love never fails. It never fades or ends. But as for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for the gift of special knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part, for our knowledge is fragmented and incomplete. But when that which is complete and perfect comes, that which is incomplete and partial will pass away. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child, and I became a man. I did away with selfish things. For now, in this time of imperfection, we see in a mirror dimly a blurred reflection, a riddle, an enigma. But then, when the time of perfection comes, we will see reality, face to face. Now I know in part, just in fragments, but then I will know fully, just as I have been fully known by God. And now there remain faith, abiding trust in God and his promises, hope, confident expectations, and eternal salvation, love, unselfish love for others, out of God's love for me. These three, the choicest graces, but the greatest of these is love. I don't know of anybody that actually follows this example of love. This is the true biblical Jesus type of love. This is what we should be attaining. But that perfect love that they're talking about, all these things that we have, that we say if we do all these things, but we don't have love, then it's nothing. That perfect love that will be revealed is when Jesus comes back, when we finally understand who he is. We finally are fully known by him, and we fully know him. That's what remains, the love that remains. That's what we are searching for. It doesn't come from a Valentine card. It doesn't come from a spouse. It doesn't come from any of those things. So if you're putting all of your hopes and dreams and wishes in somebody to come into your life to be able to give you that, you're going to be completely dissatisfied and unfulfilled, because we were never meant to find that in another human being. We were only meant to find that in a personal relationship with God. And out of that, out of the abundance of that and the overflow of that, when you're pressing into him and you're pouring into him and he's pouring into you, you can learn to love yourself. And out of that love, you can love somebody else. It has to be in that order. Otherwise, we're going to end up just like the statistics are, even in the church, almost it's 1 out of every 2 marriages ends in divorce. In the world of special needs that I talk about on this channel, 87% of marriages end in divorce if they have a special needs child or they're in an extreme parenting type situation. So if I was basing my love on that, then I would be completely dissatisfied, unfulfilled, and feel like I was nothing. But if I'm basing my love on who God says I am and not on who man says I am, then it doesn't matter what I'm going through. It doesn't matter how somebody is treating me. I can still choose to love that person. You can only love somebody through God's heart. And I pray that almost every day. I say, God, help me to see the world through your eyes and love with your heart. Or whether it's my family member, but help me to see them through your eyes and love them with your heart. I don't want to see people through the world, because then you're always going to be disappointed. Our expectations are in the wrong thing if we're trying to meet some worldly standard of what love is. So I want to encourage you that the ultimate example of love was Jesus. That's the example that we should lay down our life for somebody else. And that doesn't necessarily mean like give up your life. Laying down your life means laying down your own opinions, your agenda, your selfish wants and needs, your pride. It's all about me. Make me happy, make me smile, make me feel good about myself. I don't want that from another person. I don't want somebody else to have that kind of heavy weight of a responsibility to make me anything, to make me happy, to complete me, to fulfill me. That's not my husband's job. It's not my children's job. That's not anybody's job. That's God's job. And it's my job to be able to receive that into my spirit. So if you're one of those people that have walked through many Valentine's days and it didn't turn out the way it was, or you've walked through Valentine's days that were amazing and then you're not with that person anymore, whatever your experience is, don't let that be your version of love. Now, there's nothing wrong. Again, please celebrate it with your family members. We're going to go out on a date and we're taking our son with us and we're going to go see the new Captain America movie. So that's how we're spending our Valentine's Day. And Gracie's going off to grandma's to spend her day with her. So certainly celebrate it with those that you love, but don't let that be the version of what love actually is. Don't hold out for somebody else to meet your expectations. Take the expectations off of them and allow them to just be whoever they are and allow God to work on their heart. It's not up to us to convict our spouse or to convict somebody else because they did or didn't do something that you expected them to do. So anyway, I hope that this, lands okay with you. I hope that it blessed you. I love you, and I want you to know that the creator of the universe loves you, and honestly, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, that is all that matters. Truly, that matters. If you know that in your heart, that the creator of the universe, that made you, that knit you together in your mother's womb, loves you, and he calls you his beloved, it doesn't matter what anybody else does on this earth for you. That is all you need. But I love you, and I want you to have an awesome day, and I can't wait for us to be back together again. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel. And just share this with somebody that does need a little love today. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.